Excellent stuff.
So Andy, are you the new business development manager or whatever it's called?
No, they are hiring for a VP of business development as well. I'm, I guess, growth manager for a number of different areas. One of them is being the business development, which was Project Bounce Back. Also been doing some partner stuff. So been working with our wonderful partners. We've got a couple of them on the call. So James and Nia are two people which are jumping to mind as we've done some work over the last kind of 3 months. And I'm going to be working with Christian more on the Global Coaches Program. So a bit of a generalist at the moment, but they are recruiting for someone for a senior position. So but thanks very much for asking. So thank you very much. So this is Boost 21, and obviously we're going to be looking at business development for beginners. So some of you I can see are definitely not beginners when it comes to business development, but hopefully we'll get something, we'll share some nuggets of information as we go through. It is going to be a whistle stop tour, so we are going to keep quite a high tempo as we go through the next hour, and we are obviously recording. I've shared a Miro board in the chat. If you wanted to join that, I'm just going to get started. Let's go into there. Okay, so I'm going to start here. We are here. Welcome to BD for Beginners. Thank you very much for taking the time through this session. What are we going to be covering? So I'm going to focus on 3 core areas, and this is really just scratching the surface when we talk about business development. But we will look at what are the success factors for your business development. What's your BD profile, and what's your BD strategy map? All of which are wonderful tools that Christian and the team have developed. But before we get too far down that, I just wanted to spend a little bit of time just to introduce myself. Some of you know me, some of you don't. But for those of you who don't, just a very quick kind of snapshot of who I am. Andy Green. I've got about 15 years or so in sales or business development. If you want to include the time when I was working in my dad's shop, then that gets nearer to 20 years. So my dad was in retail, so he introduced me really into the world of sales and all that lovely stuff at the tender age of about 14 or 15. My current role and my full-time job is I currently lead the software business for NTT across Europe, which is around about $160 million worth of business. Across that's 15 countries, and my job is to drive the transition towards software away from the reliance on the hardware. When in my spare time, I'm also an associate partner here at Strategy Tools. And as I mentioned, some of the areas I focus on is Project Bounce Back, which is our business development, which was the pilot. And that's really kind of concreting our approach into what we're going to be doing with the new BD course. I also have been focusing on some of the partner development. That work is slowly coming to an end as Christian has flipped the responsibility to now focus on the Digital Academy growth, and in particular focusing on the Global Coaches Program. When I'm not doing any of that, I'm also in the process of starting my own consulting firm, which is under the Green Cook Enterprise. And somewhere in between that, I managed to squeeze in being a father to a 10-month-old and a husband to my wife as well. So fairly busy, but that's the way I like it. So if we then focus as we get started now on business development success factors. So just in the chat window, if you're able to, if I can find my chat window, perhaps just put in some of the things that you think makes successful business, or your successful business factors, business development factors. What is a good business development? Long-term trust and relationships, repeat business, inquiries, referrals. Excellent. Relationships, I like that. Focus and persistence, I like that, Peter. And lasting relationships, absolutely. And stickiness, very good, very good. So absolutely. So we like to start positioning and referrals, brilliant. So we're going to start focusing first on this canvas, and this is not a canvas for us to long-term business relationships. Excellent. So what I wanted to focus on here is that really business development success factors fall into kind of three different areas, and the first one we look at is you. Out of everything, that's the one thing that we didn't talk about. So what's your story? What are you about? You know, what is your personal background, your cert, what does your CV look like? What experience do you have? And really, to a certain extent, what credibility do you have in that space as well? So really, the first bit is really we kind of talk about you as a person when it talks about business development. People buy from you, and why is that? But again, as everyone is kind of really kind of reflected on, it then looks at, you know, them, the outside world, or the access that you have. And that's where I think a lot of people have kind of really focused here, is turn long-term business relationships, personal connections, digital channels, your network. So really focusing on that, do I have access to the right buyers? And the final thing that a lot of us probably have a tendency to kind of miss over it is the capabilities. If you've got some poor resolution, if you click on the canvas and then zoom in, sometimes it does take a little bit to work out. If not, I am sharing on Zoom, so please feel free to jump on the Zoom section as well. But if you are having poor resolution, then you can zoom in, and that should resolve it. Does that work, James?
It does not resolve it.
I had the same problem. You might have to refresh the mirror board so it can come back.
I thought it was the browser, but no, I'm doing it in another browser. So, and it's the same.
Yeah,
Sorry,
so
what is wrong? Yeah.
If you click on the canvas and then zoom in, that resolves the issues.
Yeah, that worked for me.
Me too.
It takes a while though, so keep for everybody. It takes a couple of seconds. So like might take even 10 seconds. So you zoom in deeply and then you see it loading up.
Perfect. But any issues, don't hesitate to shout. And then the final piece that we look at is capabilities, and this is when we look at again, you know, your business development capabilities, project design and delivery. And from my experience, from talking to many of the partners and consultants in general, people enjoy doing the project design and they enjoy doing the delivery. The bit that they don't like doing necessarily is always the business development piece, and that's really, I guess, why this area is really important. Is how do you make business development a bit more fun and a bit more enjoyable? So hopefully that's starting to you know, nothing new, hopefully, in that section to start off with, in terms of what makes it important or what makes it good. I'm just going to zoom in here. But the question that I often get asked is where do you start? You know, and what is the thing that you want to present? So that's where we'll move into your business development profile. So who are you, and how are you going to approach your business development? And through the research and through a number of conversations, we created the business development profile. And this I will be kind of, I guess, more focused specifically on people who are running their own business, or people who are being, you know, external consultants or something similar. But it's still very relevant when we look at it through the eyes of, even if you're an expert in your area, you still want to be able to understand, because everyone is doing business development at some point. So when we look at the different profiles, and you might be able to say, oh, I recognize myself in that. We broke it down into 5 kind of key profiles of business development. And we have people who sit in that expert role. And when we talk about this expert role, we're really talking about people who are the thought leaders in this space. So a globally recognized expert. I mean, you would imagine people like your Clayton Christensen's, your Rita McGrath's, Potentially even at some point, Christian Rangan might be in that box at some point in the future. But really those people who are globally recognized, they are prolific when it comes to writing books. So any of those thought leaders in people are studying within MBAs, etc. Those are the type of people who sit in that box, and people who are doing lots of I guess keynote speaking, etc. And obviously publishing newsletters and are sought after. And I'll share a story that. Rita kind of went when she shared with Christian, was that she had a couple of people come and do some, wanting to hear how she does it, and they, after a short period of time, they came out, wow, this is really, really hard. And Rita's response was, well, it's not that hard. You just need to, work at university. You need to write 5 books, and you need, and all of a sudden, you need to spend 50% of your time doing research, and and people will come to you. The very flippant comment that she was making there is that to be a global expert is not an easy feat by any stretch of the imagination, but it is possible. And I want to just share with you this guy on the right-hand side, a guy called Rowan Gibson. He is now known as Mr. Innovation. And Rowan is actually quite an interesting story, because what he did very well, he was actually a marketing executive for many, many years. And what Rowan did is he co-wrote a book with some of the most forward-thinking individuals. And one of the things that he did, he wrote the introduction chapter to the book. And the reason why I mentioned Rowan is because he wasn't an innovation expert at the time of writing the book. He was a marketing executive. What he did very well is that he interviewed all of the forward thinkers at the time and put his name at the front of it. And everyone, almost by association, then assumed that he too was an innovation expert. And obviously, since then, he's gone on and he's written a number of other books, and he has become a strategist and an innovator in his own right. But he was known as Mr. Innovation, not necessarily by straight up credit, but just by being at the right place and being very clever with the marketing. Anyway, I just wanted to share that story. The other area that we look at when we talk about business development profile is that content rich type of BD profile. So this is when you're doing extensive writing, publishing, you maybe write a number of annual publications, so some type of report or a book. You do a lot of video content, and you're using third channels, platforms, and magazines. Now, David Lancefield, who was talking earlier in the open session, I would indicate that he sits very heavily in this space. He may disagree with me, but he does the Flashes and Sparks newsletters. He does a lot of content on online, and he uses that to generate a brand awareness of who he is and what he's doing. Obviously, it's also very good that he's balancing off, a 20-year career working for PwC. So he is also very well known in the industry as well. But he's really kind of driving that new wave, or the second, his next kind of career as his independent consulting. Then there's this idea of sowing 1,000 seeds. So this is when you're becoming very, very very active on social media and digital channels. Posting across multiple platforms and really writing, more than daily posts or more, but also active in teaching, speaking, webinars, and conferences. So this is really kind of throwing out, as you say, 1,000 seeds to see what plants. And people like Scott, if you don't follow Scott on LinkedIn, he's very, very active. He posts a lot. He comments on posts, and obviously very much involved in the speaking circuit and also education. So again, very much building up that BD profile around pushing out that the information and being seen as a thought leader. We also see that free workshops is a fantastic way to get people through the door. So running a number of open and free sessions, inviting as many people into those sessions as possible, constantly piloting and testing, really good at building those relationships once they're into the workshop. How do you keep those relationships bubbling away? and obviously developing fans and networks. And this is really important, so that if someone says, oh, I've got this project coming up and I really want to be able to do that, your name comes to mind. So you do that through a number of free workshops. And one of the persons that I would call out for this is a guy called Alan Bertram. Alan, pre-COVID, he was doing a lot of work with the simulations, number of free sessions with the simulations, getting people in, getting his name out there, and really getting to be known as the person who can run those simulations for you on your behalf. So again, a really great way of building business with your clients and your buyers. And then the final one is direct sales. And this is sometimes people's least favorite, but pretty much proactively booking sales meetings all day. You have a breakfast meeting, you have a lunch meeting, you have a dinner meeting, and then you probably have a drinks meeting at the end of the day as well. Really heavily investing time with buyers, being in front of them. Christian and I have discussed looking at, as we said, 2 or 3 meetings in a day. So hitting that 1,500 sales meetings per year. But a strong focus on funnel and a strong focus with ratio kind of conversion rates. So knowing that if you do 3 meetings in a day, that equals 15 meetings in a week, of which 2 of them will close. So you know that you're going to be looking at that ratio, and obviously a very strong sales process. That I think again is another key focus. So I'm going to stop for a breath. Do people recognize themselves in any of these profiles? If so, I'm just going to put some little sticky notes, which I will do for you here. I think we've got 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. If you can, do me a favor and come to the BD profile canvas, which is the one in the middle, and grab one of the sticky notes or one of the boxes to the right hand side of the screen and just drop where you think you might be. Now, I will also, sometimes you see this, you might go, oh, I sit there and there, or I have a little bit of both. Then in that case, copy your box and then join them together with an arrow, just so we can see. Hi, Andrea, no problem. I've just shared oh, no, sorry, that went to James. Sorry, James, that was supposed to go to everyone. There you go. I've just shared the Miro board for you, Andrea.
I think one of the aspects that's obviously a little bit daunting here, Andy, is if you are very strongly in the delivery role and a lot of your sales come from word of mouth, I think some of the levels of activity are probably not that realistic.
Sorry, James, say that again. I was just sidetracked by Duncan.
So I'm saying, in my business, a lot of my work comes from word of mouth and from delivery. So although I'm active in the ways that I've seen, I would say that I would feel a little bit overstating the reality if I were to say I'm at that level in each one of those areas.
Yes, no, absolutely. I mean, as I said, what we find is if you're in delivery and you've got some really good referrals and recommendations, then then that's part of your own business development, which is kind of leading you into the next kind of, I guess, tranche of activities. So yeah, sometimes this might be a little bit more downplayed. Absolutely. You may not go, oh, I'm not doing 1,000 seeds, or I'm not doing 30 workshops, if you've got a good deal flow coming through as well.
Hi, Andy.
Hello.
Hi, do you have to check all the boxes in each of the categories, or just maybe the
If you want to
majority?
be world class in business development, then yes. But no, this is just a guide to give you an idea of how to build that relationship, or how to build that business. You don't have to tick everything. These are purely guides, but it's a good guide if you're going, well, I'm doing workshops, but I'm not doing that, or I'm doing this, but I'm not doing that. It's just to give you an idea of what you need to be looking at.
Thanks, man.
Okay, so looking at what we have here, Andrew, I'm just having a little bit of struggle with yourself, because you can't find that canvas in the, if you wanted to come off mute, can't see the canvas in the, it's next to your BD profile in the.
Yes, my screen doesn't look anything like yours. It's just, I see names at the bottom floating around, but there is no picture.
If you, Andrea, do you see the tabs at the top, and you see that there's an AG circle? Click on that. That'll take you to where Andy is.
Thank you. I have it now. Thank you.
That's a good little technique. I'll bear that in mind. Thank you very much for sharing, Tim. Appreciate your help. Okay, so James, I can see that content rich, but also workshops and direct sales. Did you want to just make a couple of comments on there?
Yeah, so I guess in every business, I think if you're not Rita McGrath or Clayton Christensen, you have to do direct sales. I think we all have to have some of that. I just don't think you can avoid it. Because I do a lot of experiential learning type of programs, that's not the sort of thing that you could sell. You can't sell that with a brochure or a call. You sell it when people experience it. So free workshops, demo workshops, those kinds of things are important. And then in the last year or so, I've been teaching on an MBA program. So that's kind of pushed me to be much more active in writing content. And it's interesting. I actually find that although I'm quite active on LinkedIn and resharing, and the original content is where you get by far the biggest impact. I wrote an article about hybrid office and going back to the office and stuff, which was just a response to something I heard from a client, and that was like multitudes of 100 higher in terms of attention to all of the fantastic stuff that I've been sharing and resharing that I thought was much more brilliant than what I wrote. So it's an interesting perspective. So that's kind of I guess I could do more in the sowing 1,000 seeds space, but that would be my 3 areas where I'm most active.
Love it. Thank you very much. Lakshmi, see that you're doing sowing seeds and free workshops. It'd be great to hear from you yourself.
That's right. So I've started pretty recently after we launched a platform on digital transformation for MSME in India. So it's been almost like 6 months. So in the last 6 months, at least I don't really publish one day a post, but at least I make sure that at least a couple of posts on a weekly basis, and then I start sharing things specific to digital transformation. We did conduct a few webinars focused on some in collaboration with industry bodies, as well as focused workshops for some of the freelance consultants as well. So these are some things, and where I could have the connection. It's more about, it's also for me It's about understanding their business and what challenges they are facing, because digital transformation per se is pretty large domain as such. So having these kind of conversation, especially the workshops, and having a focused conversation helps in terms of understanding more specific issues that we can take it forward, and then take it forward further, and then work out some specific engagements as well. So these are some things which was my experience, Andy.
Awesome. Thank you very much for sharing. Finally, I'll ask Rodrigo in Brazil. I see that you're sitting in the free workshops space around the business development. Can you just say a little bit more about what you do in that space, please?
Yeah, I don't know if I put my name in the right position, because I commit an error, a strategic error, because I work with a big company, a kind of public company that receive the demands and give the demand for a bank or group of consultants which are certified by it. And then over the last years, I have not made any effort in putting me in the market, just with their demands. But I have good relationship, and I receive a lot of indication to work. But now I know that I have to work more with this, and I'm starting to make some social media and some works like these free workshops, but not as much as it's necessary. And I'm planning to create a essential financial for small business. I will work with small business, and to put it on the market, a online course. So, and I'm starting to write some articles in the LinkedIn. But I'm really starting my strategy of business development. That's why I am really an initiative business for initiates.
Yeah.
Yep.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Rodrigo. What I have done, I have connected you. I've added you into Content Rich and kept you over in the workshops as you are. It's playing around with the different types of BD approaches. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
So hopefully you found the initial exercise useful, and again, you can have a mixture of all of this. You don't need to put yourself into a bucket, you always find that you will be doing a mixture of different things. So these are just an idea of what your profile might look like and what you might need to do in order to develop. So if we move down into the next section, and what we're going to start delving into a little bit more now is your business development map or strategy map. So we're moving to the next section, which is the next canvas. And we're going to spend just probably 3 or 4 minutes, and I'll just explain to you the canvas. And if you are having problems with it being blurry, if you click and zoom in, you will find that will eventually unblur. So when we start looking at your business development strategy map, we like to start exploring what type of business development do you want to be doing and what do you want to be known for. And that's really, really important when we start looking at how you want to go approaching it and what you should be doing. So when we look at your business strategy, we break this down really into 4 buckets. So to say 4 big buckets, which we then break down in another canvas down into 9 segments. But if we look at the general buckets on the left-hand side, you'll see that there is shorter contracts. So these are when you're looking at 1 to 3 days. What I'm going to do, if I can have a pointer, spotlight, there you go. So on the left-hand side, we have these shorter contracts. So we're looking at maybe 1, 2 or 3 days worth of delivery. And then on the right-hand side, this is when you look to multi-year contracts. And obviously that's reflected in the left-hand side having shorter sales cycles and the right-hand side having longer sales cycles. You're not going to wake up tomorrow morning and go and close a 2-year contract without doing any real business development, unless you're, as you say, someone who's very much a thought leader. And then we break it down into 2 other types as well, which is that on the bottom axis, it's your digital delivery. And then on the top, it's your face-to-face delivery. So on the bottom left-hand side, we're talking about automation expert. And this is really, I guess, from the strategy tools kind of digital academy perspective. And we also saw this in some of the best practice in Mexico as well, where Javier has created his own, I guess, academy that they can work with. Yes, James, absolutely. We do look at that as well in terms of saying when we break this down into the next nine segments, we do actually look at there is a crossover between face-to-face and digital, and that's really becoming more apparent in the world that we're living in today. But if we look at it from, I guess, in these 4 segments, automation experts, that's more like the digital academy. You can create your own online learning as well. And then the opposite to that is when we look at the workshop guru. And the workshop guru is still those shorter sessions, those 1, 2 or 3 day sessions, but you'll be face-to-face in a classroom with any luck. Obviously not now during the COVID world, but what you might find is things like doing online workshops is now becoming that focus. That would still be deemed as potentially as face-to-face, but it's using digital technologies to be face-to-face. When we talk about, I guess, true digital, it's no kind of interaction with you as a delivery person. It's all automated, pre-recorded. And then we look to the bottom right-hand side, and this is when we start looking at, I guess, 100% digital, but looking at long-term contracts. So this is when you look at being a systems provider. There's not many people who play in that space. But obviously through the strategy tools with the app and things like that, we are looking at developing that a little bit more. And then the top right, which is, I would say, traditional consulting land. So this is really, I guess, where we would see that strategic advisor role. You're on site, you're in presence, you are being there, and you're also doing those multi-year long-term contracts as well. And as I said, you are seeing these blur slightly as we go into this post-COVID world, where we could be using things like Zoom technology or other collaboration technologies to deliver a workshop or to deliver a long-term project as well. Scott talks a lot about, he used to be very much in that top right-hand corner, face-to-face, long-term contracts, but he is obviously dropping further down now into digital content delivery or digital delivery of those longer-term contracts. So hopefully that gives a little bit of a background into the different, I guess, business development strategies and what we're aiming to achieve. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break us out into, let me have a think, 4 breakout rooms. So before I do that, I am needing to, if I can, add another group, as I wasn't quite expecting quite as many people. So let's do that now. So I'm going to put us into 4 breakout rooms. And for the next 10 minutes, within your groups, we're going to allow you some time to discuss. No problems, Rob. Thanks very much. We'll break out into those rooms, and then you can, in that case, it'll be 17. Yeah, I'll still do 4 breakout rooms, and then just have a discussion around where you think you fit, and plot yourself using the post-it notes, just where you think you want to play, where you do play, and where you'd like to get to. Before we break out, any questions or comments? Okay. Well, I am going to send you off into your breakout rooms now, and I will probably see me pop in and pop out over the next 10 minutes as we have a little play. Okay, over to you. Cheers then.
Very nice, Andy.
Seems to be going okay, I think.
Yeah. And what's...
How many people do we have? We have 15 people, which I think means that everyone is back. Let's have a look.
Well, when you close breakout rooms, it's kind of, we can't hide there anymore.
This is true. Right. Okay. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Now we get the joyous time of having a bit of review and feedback. Obviously, we've covered a lot of ground in terms of, I guess, introducing you to some of the tools, some of the concepts. But please do share some of your thoughts and feedback. And I'm going to call, I think, on Tim Sharp, just because I thought what you made was your comment, what that you made was very relevant. So I really enjoyed that. So I'll pick on you first, if that's okay.
Okay. Apologies if I repeat myself then to those that were in my group. I was just saying that looking at the Foursquare, what I found interesting is that I could place where I am currently fairly easily. And then I initially just placed myself horizontally across. So from workshop guru to strategic advisor, because I'd like to continue to build long-term relationships and therefore lead to longer-term projects. But then got me thinking that actually what that would do is still limit my ability to run the business solely based on me being present and doing the doing. But ultimately for growth and for allowing more diversity and just moving with the times, I'm going to have to move down into being more of a system provider. And so opening up that opportunity to sell the services and sell the expertise without me physically having to do the selling in my own time. So that I just thought the Foursquare gave me that 1-2 step thinking, which I just found very simple, but I think useful.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Tim. I think that's a really good insight as to where you play versus where you scale. Those are two obviously very different things. So I appreciate your commentary. Anyone else wanted to share some feedback from their breakout room?
I would like to mention what James said, that he wrote some article, and he was thinking that the others that he was already published was more brilliant than his. And what happened that his article calls so much more attention, and I think this is very interesting because it encourages us to write our own opinion. Okay, it's good to publish brilliant things from others, but I think that our opinion turns us closer, put us closer to our clients, and I think that this is a nice observation for us, for me at least today.
Yeah, No,
James.
I think what it does, and James, maybe keep me honest here, people then know what you're about. They know your opinions, and they can think, am I wanting to work with that person? Do I like that person? And I think that's it's a more of a personalized, I guess, view, as opposed to just, a journalist view or something like that. So I think that's a good shout.
Yeah, Andy, it's really interesting. I've just this morning I saw a post of a friend of mine who does movie reviews on Facebook, and he's been asked as a kind of an honor to join a prestigious closed group that does movie reviews. And the first thing they did was to tell him to stop doing his movie reviews on his own Facebook page, because they have a massive interdiction against cross-platform sharing. And I think there's a bit of a fine line there. I mean, if we're going to share stuff, and I still share a lot on LinkedIn and Twitter and places like that, but I think that the problem with that is that cross-platform sharing of any content that is not your own tends to be stuff that a lot of different people are sharing, a lot of different people are. So the differentiation value is much lower, even if the content is fantastic.
Mm. That's great. Thank you. Okay, let me have a look at the breakout rooms, trying to remember who was in which. What about breakout group number 3? Or anyone who has not shared yet? Neil, what about yourself? I'm going to pick on you because you just popped up on my screen and I can see you smiling now. What about yourself in terms of your breakout group? What was a key moment of takeaway that you had?
Well, first of all, I was with Lakshmi, which has a unique business model of matchmaking between the businesses that need strategic consulting, etc., and the consultants themselves. It's very interesting. I learned a lot. I learned from his website, and we talked a little bit about it now. And actually, myself is well, as you can see in the lockdown. My son here. Anyway. And myself, I really started with strategy tool as a tool to embed within my other consulting. I'm from a marketing background, marketing and media background, and I wanted to embed some strategic tools within my consulting services. And actually, I'm having a second thought now of a business development. And I need to learn about it now. Whether I should open a consulting strategic firm. I also deal with strategic. I also learned it in university, etc. But I'm looking for a way to maybe understand if I open a consulting firm, or maybe should I offer this to other consulting strategic firms. One thing is to compete with them in a very competitive landscape. And the other thing is maybe to joint venture with them and lead it too. So this is the thinking that I have.
Excellent. Very good insights. Thank you very much, Nir. Appreciate it. And it's nice to see your son and enjoying the lockdown life. The amount of times that you get interrupted on these sessions. So hello. Oh, very nice. Very nice. Thank you very much. Okay, so just to kind of, I guess, start to bring to the final close of the session, the tools that we've been using today have been part of the business development series. These are a series of tools. Obviously, we have covered three here today. We've got the business success factors, your BD profile, and obviously your business development strategy. However, the good news is we have another bunch of tools over here. We have about 20 or so of them, and they take everything from what your ambitions are all the way through to the Trusted Advisor Index and consulting mastery and business development activities. I'm just going to lock that so it doesn't get moved. So there are a number of tools that we can use here. So this is just the introductory session. The work that we've been doing in Project Bounce Back has been testing a lot of these tools. But we are going to be looking to launch in 2021 a BD course, and that will be using these tools. And that, as I said earlier, will be a mixture of the tools, the monthly workshops, and also one-to-one coaching around business development. And one of the things we've seen is it helps with the accountability. It also helps with shaping your conversations, and obviously meeting other people within the network. So I just wanted to highlight that there is this business development series that you can get involved with, and we can work together as well. So thank you very much, everyone, for your time. In terms of next steps, I guess that the first thing to understand is understand and look to develop your BD persona. So this mirror board is going to be open. Please do come back and review that BD persona and kind of think, how do I create that right persona? And obviously identify your business development strategy as well. So using the strategy map, working out, okay, well, I want to be in this type of area. What do I need to do? I will label now that if you would like to know what you need to do to build a business development persona in a particular segment, that is one of the other tools. So just on that one here, it's somewhere in this section where you can have a look at it. So please do have a little sniff around, and that is just a global image, because it broke Miro when I tried to upload them all. So hence why they are it's just a single picture. So really do understand your identify your BD strategy. And obviously, if this resonates and you'd like to find out more, pop me an email, andy@strategytools.io, and we'll keep you posted when we'll be doing the next BD course. We normally look for it to be a 6 to 12 month course, because as you say, it's not something that is just going to happen overnight. You do need to spend some time developing those strategies. So please do drop me an email if you're interested, and I'll be happy to support in the next enrollment that we have for the BD course. So we have 2 minutes left. I'm going to stop sharing just so I can share with you the if I can find it, the links for the next sessions. Copy that. There we go. So that's the link for the next session. We'll be starting at the top of the hour, but we have 2 minutes left. If anyone wanted to ask some questions, or if you want to go and grab a coffee, a beer, or anything else, please feel free to jump out the room. I'll stay here for another 2 to 5 minutes to answer any questions people have. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your active participation. Very much appreciate it. And any questions, let us know. Thank you very much, and see you back in the main session in 10 minutes.
Thanks, Andy.
Thanks.
Andy, did you share the link for the main session?
I have. Hang on.
I can't see it.
Good shout. There we go. I sent it to a private message to Andrea, so apologies. I've now shared it with everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Is this your qualification process to out-qualify people?
Absolutely. It's always qualifying who's going to be interested. So yes, and it's also my qualification of my poor facilitation skills that I need to brush up on.
I know you did great, Andy. Don't worry about it. You did really good.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, Andy.
Cheers. Thank you, Andrea.